Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. mybookie.ag.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the dirt. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
It's the weekend, and he is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen Jacoby on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
We get the people what they want.
We want to give a quick shout to the Cleveland Cavaliers and their entertainment staff because they, just like this show, have a no Nas slander policy. During the pregame warm-ups at the Q, the staff played almost exclusively Nas songs during the warm-ups, clearly a hat tip towards the Nas slander that Lonzo Ball has both spoken and put on his sweatshirt. Jalen Rose, do you support this from the staff of the Q?
No question about it. And this is where the NBA continues to be a lot more progressive than other sports and other understanding its audience. I credit the public address announcer for the Detroit Pistons game, John Mason, for having flavor when he introduces the players and for calls and chants throughout the game. Now when you go across the league following that lead, you see teams having DJs in the arena. You see this flexibility taking place to create a more festive atmosphere. So now when you have that, things like this could take place. The old ancient way is we used to sometimes have to tell them what songs we wanted to hear coming out or try to create a playlist. And then sometimes it's like the fans really don't want to hear all of those records, so they'll play maybe 30% of them or 50% of them, depending on what part of the warm-up we were in. So I appreciate the progression, and I definitely appreciate the fact that they made the young fella listen to some Nasir Jones, who he claimed was irrelevant. Such blasphemy.
The Cavs handled a spirited effort from a young Lakers squad. They won the game, but the Lakers looked pretty good. You know, they did what they could do, but no one's talking about the game. Everyone is talking about the exchange between Lonzo Ball and LeBron James. What does it mean? Well, guess what? Thanks to some mics that were on the court, we know exactly what they said to each other. Let's listen. So, Jalen, he didn't really say much. He was just like, hey, you know, do your thing, stay in your zone. He said the media is going to ask you about this, tell them nothing. Do you think this was more a veteran giving a hyped rookie some advice, or is LeBron trolling the media, or was he kind of doing both?
I think he was doing both. A lot of that exchange, number one, was iconic future Hall of Famer who understands what it's like to feel pressure as a young player, giving wisdom, knowledge, and love to one Lonzo Ball, whose father, by the way, finds a way to slander multiple players in their games, in particular while he was still at UCLA. But the second part of it was about the king. The way it was done, with the jersey over the mouth, telling him what to do with the media and how to approach it, and then both of them in the post game acting like there was some top secret exchange, like the mafioso, where they needed mothballs in their mouth in a steam room to actually talk about the subject matter. So again, it was about LeBron making sure he continues to plant seeds wherever he tends to go, especially knowing that he's going to be a free agent at the end of this year.
Well, Jalen, I've noticed that as well. Whether or not he intends to go to these places, but he intends to make us talk about it. Here are some examples. We have this. We have him in Houston having a conversation with Chris Paul on the sidelines, being friendly. And then we have him posting himself in the middle of the Knicks logo in Madison Square Garden after he plays the Knicks. And there's this exchange between him and Lonzo. It just seems like he's playing with us, knowing that we're going to talk about these things. He's pulling the strings, and he knows which teams that people speculate that he's going to end up at, and I think he does this intentionally. Do you agree?
1,000% is done intentionally, because you don't become a mogul while you're playing like LeBron James, who deserves to have his number retired and a statue while he's still playing at a high level in his 15th year. He understands each step of the way, so much so that he's telling Lonzo to tell the media we didn't talk about nothing, or don't let them in, none of your business, when they didn't even talk about anything.
They didn't talk about nothing. That's true. Nothing was exchanged. Stay in your zone. That doesn't mean anything. But he knows that the mystery is more effective than the actual facts. Because if Lonzo did tell the truth, he just kind of gave me a pat in the back and, told me to, play hard. Moving on, you know how I love Lance Stevenson, right?
Absolutely.
Lance Stevenson has just been replaced as my favorite basketball player. He's been replaced by this guy in Atlanta. Check him out.
Have you ever made a shot like this before, Norman?
All the time.
The confidence. That. Look at this. And then the form. Nothing but net. The confidence before the shot is what really gets me. Oh, look at him. Look at him. He kind of looks like an older version of Paperboy from Atlanta. I love this so much. Jalen, do you think this is the greatest shooter of all time?
I just want people to know, his family, his friends, his coworkers, that he's, after taxes, he doesn't have $10,000. Because people tend to count your money for you. Everybody is going to come up to him and treat him like he got $10,000 in his pocket.
He got $6,000.
I got your back.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point.
Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. Mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play, because they get paid. MyBookie.ag.
Jalen, something comes back this weekend that I forget about every single year. Do you know what that something is?
No.
Weekend NFL football games on Saturday. It always happens around this time of year. I always forget about it. And this Saturday, the very first game at 4:30 are the Bears coming into downtown Detroit to face your Detroit Lions. There is a world in which the Detroit Lions can win 3 straight games. They play the Bears and then someone else and then the Packers. And they could end up at 10-6 and make the playoffs. They're going to beat the Bears on 4:30 on Saturday, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you for your analysis. Then, at 8:25, we have the Chargers at the Chiefs. The Chargers, a team that started terrible, playing the Chiefs, a team that started hot, and they have now switched roles. They both end up at 7-6. The winner of this team puts himself firmly in the hunt for the wild card. The winner of this game puts themselves firmly in the hunt for the AFC wildcard spot or the division. Who do you think will win this one?
I think Kansas City finds the way to get themselves back in order. I think coming out of the chute, 5-0, took the league by storm. That's without Eric Berry, who they lost for the entire year. Yep. And then it seemed like Kareem Hunt, who got off to an amazingly fast start for a rookie. I don't know if he hit the wall. Coach Andy Reid said people weren't doing a great job up front of blocking for him. But either way, he tailed off, and then he got back going last week. But you got to start with Alex Smith. His performance in particular has been the either hot and cold thing that determined whether they were going to win or lose. And so their defense has to start playing as stout as expected. But again, they have so many offensive weapons that I think the Kansas City Chiefs find a way to get themselves going. But don't overlook the Chargers.
Yep.
Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers. Like, this squad, anytime you start 0-4 and you're able to turn your season around the way they've done, it's truly impressive. And they get after the quarterback defensively as well, in particular with Joey Bosa.
I love Bosa. They've been 7-2 in their last 9. Phillip Rivers is not going to be the MVP, but he's kind of sort of on the bubble in the conversation. This moves us to our Sunday games. The Dolphins at the Bills won't be that exciting, so we're just going to jump over to that one and go to this one I want to talk about. The Packers getting on a plane, going to Carolina to play the Panthers, and this, of course, is the return of Aaron Rodgers. Jalen, I'm very concerned about this game. I think this is a terrible idea by the Packers. I would not start Aaron Rodgers in this game, and let me explain why. The Carolina Panthers have more sacks than any other team in the NFL. The last time the Packers played the Panther, they ran like 24 blitzes at Aaron Rodgers. He was contacted 12 times, and he was sacked 5 times. He's got 13 screws inside of his body to fix a clavicle. And now, in his first game back, without his sea legs underneath him, they're going to put him out on the road against the Panthers. You seem to disagree about this decision. I would not start Aaron Rodgers in this game.
You're on drugs. If he's healthy and he rehabbed and he's ready to go, he's not fearing any opponent. That's irrelevant. If they were playing against the steel curtain, he'd want to be out there. But here's what's truly going to happen, though. The Carolina Panthers are going to win, and then Aaron Rodgers will be out the next 2 games.
Exactly. See, that's the thing. It's like I can see the future. I believe the Carolina Panthers win this game, and the next thing you know, Brett Hundley's back out there because they're out of the playoff hunt. Like, we know this is going to happen. So
correct.
So here's my logic on that, Jalen. We agree about that, right? So once they lose, Aaron Rodgers will no longer play. So they're kind of saying that they're going to beat the Panthers and then the Vikings and then the Lions. I just kind of think that's unrealistic to expect that to happen. Could it happen? Sure, but it has about a 10% chance of transpiring in my mind. I just do not believe that will happen. So if I were the Packers, I would not play Aaron Rodgers this season because I would just make the risk-reward assessment. The risk is so high and the potential reward is so remote that I would not play Aaron Rodgers. You're looking around like this is ridiculous to me. Like, I don't understand. The logical path that I just put in front of you, you do not follow?
No. How are you going to look at 53 guys in the locker room and say, I'm not playing arguably the best quarterback in the league because we're scared of the Carolina Panthers and their pass rush? Or we're not going to play Aaron Rodgers because there's only a 9% chance we make the playoffs. If there is a chance and he is healthy, you put him on the field. Once they lose at Carolina, then he won't play again.
Yep. But we all know they're going to lose. I mean, they're going to lose to Carolina, and then they're not going to play him the next week. Let's not risk that. I just hope Aaron Rodgers is okay because I like Aaron Rodgers a lot. They better block for that guy. Yep. The Ravens are going to beat the Browns. We know that. Yep. The Jaguars are going to beat the Texans. We know that. Yep. The Bengals go into Minnesota to play the Vikings. The Vikings have a 10-3 record. Is there any chance that the Bengals can spoil the Vikings' hopes of a number 1 seed in the NFC?
No. Not at all. No. The Vikings will find a way defensively to control the football game. They win. Cincinnati, Tampa Bay are 2 of the more disappointing teams all year that coming into the season that people felt like had an opportunity to make some noise.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at the Raiders also in that conversation.
That's a good call. The Saints are going to beat the Jets. And then we have this game. We have the Eagles going into the Meadowlands to play the Giants. They have opposite records. Eagles are 11-2. The Giants are 2-11. However, this is the first time this season that Nick Foles will have a full week of practice as the starting quarterback for the Eagles. How do you expect Foles to perform?
I think that the Eagles' overall football team has proven that while Carson Wentz showed to be a terrific young quarterback and you can't replace his productivity, in particular when the play breaks down, how he's able to scramble, get in and out of the pocket with Nick Foles, I think the fiber of their football team, the way it's built, power run game with the giant Blunt, tall receivers that can also be possession receivers, a really good tight end, and a great front seven defensively led by Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. So based on that level of balance, Philadelphia against a division foe, they're going to beat the brakes off the Giants.
Absolutely. I think if you were the Eagles and you did have to replace MVP candidate Carson Wentz, you could almost handpick the Giants as one of the three teams that you would want to play for Nick Foles' first start. Get a win under his belt, a Giants team that has nothing to play for. You get a full week of practice with him. This almost lines up perfectly for them preparing for a playoff push, which I still think they have the potential to go deep in the playoffs because, as you mentioned, they have so many talented players around them on both sides of the ball. The final early game on Sunday are the Cardinals at the Redskins. Would you consider the Redskins one of those teams that disappointed this season at 5-8?
I would. Arizona falls into that category as well. Washington is still not going to get towards their goal, which was, is Kirk Cousins a franchise quarterback or a starting quarterback? And what now they've got themselves in position to do is to keep paying him as such because he continues to have all of the leverage in that situation. Yep. Until that gets ironed out, along with their defense, I don't see what they hope to truly get. I don't see what their calling card is.
I really think that when Jimmy Garoppolo got traded to the 49ers, Kirk Cousins was like, hey, that's my spot. Like, come on now, that's my spot. Like, that's my spot. He's like, what I got, Denver now? You know, because there's only so many parking spots for starting quarterbacks. I mean, granted, like Kirk Cousins would fall in your top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL, but there's only so many true parking spots available, and Jimmy G just took up one in San Francisco.
And the funny thing is, people talk more about Garoppolo when he's the backup for the Patriots than they have with him starting for the 49ers. The media can be such groupies.
Well, the Patriots are a good team, and the 49ers are a terrible team. Jalen, we're about to get to the good game, the game of the week. The late game is the game that anybody is talking about. Everybody is talking about. The Patriots going into the kitchen. Whatever that is. Heinz Field to play Mike Tomlin-led Steelers. I could seriously see this game being a blowout in either direction. But my first question about this game is this. Could you see the horrible performance on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins as a sign that that they perhaps could be falling apart as they get to the end of the season? Or could that be the wake-up call that Bill Belichick and the Patriots needed to get themselves together towards the end of the year?
You never like to lose a game, but being a fly on the wall in New England's building the day after, the second after that game ended on Monday night, it was the best thing that happened to the coaching staff.
Oh,
because you have no problems now motivating your team to get ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They put such a bad performance on film. And also, now you look at Gronk. And you're like, see what your behavior cost the squad? You weren't out there with your WWE move. So now everybody's going to be on their best behavior. Antennas are going to be up, focused in the meetings, trying to make sure they make amends for not only that performance, but send a message to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You know I'm a die-easy Patriot fan. I just can't see him winning this game. And I understand that they have beaten the Steelers 8 of the last 10 games. I understand that there's a feeling that Bill Belichick has Mike Tomlin's number in sort of in a strategy head-to-head. But I just don't see them winning this game. They picked up Kenny Britt, who was dropped there because Chris Hogan looked like a lacrosse player on Monday night. He had one catch. And they have Cooks out there who was completely shielded the entire time. It wasn't like they didn't try to get him the ball. They tried to get him the ball. They could not get him the ball. He ended up with one catch. So they pick up Kenny Britt. And then you look at their running backs, Lewis and White and Burkhead. But it's kind of like a closer or a quarterback. If you have 2 or 3, that means you don't have one. Like Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I think that's kind of an understood thing by now. But you still need to put players around him. And I just don't see the players around him as constituted. I think Damian Amendola helps a lot. But without Edelman, Amendola, and Gronk, it just doesn't feel the same as it did last year. I think the Steelers win this game, even though they have a terrible track record against the Patriots. Do you agree?
And let me get on wax and agree with that. I'm taking Pittsburgh as well.
And the late games keep giving, too. The Rams, coming off a loss to the Eagles, fly up to Seattle to face MVP candidate Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams are 9-4. The Seahawks are 8-5. Playoff implications on both sides. The Seahawks are favored by 2.5 points. If you gambled on sports, which I know you don't, I don't either, and you had to put $2,000 on this game, where would you put it knowing that the Seahawks are favored -2.5?
I'm taking the Rams.
Ooh.
With the points and to win the game.
Ooh, talk to me.
This is a chance for their football team to validate this is a new regime from last year to this year. Mm-hmm. By going out and playing a quality team like the Seattle Seahawks, who, when the discussion of top players comes up in the game, Russell Wilson gets mentioned. Top teams in the conference, they get mentioned. This is an opportunity for the Rams to establish themselves. I think Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, their defense has always been stout. Aaron Donald, a lot of people don't realize, is probably the best defensive player in the whole NFL. I think the Rams. That's right, I said it. Win versus a Seahawks team without Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, that has a running back carousel just like you mentioned in Seattle.
I think the Seahawks will win because they don't lose too many games in Seattle, and they already have lost a couple. There's not much interesting about this. We'll move on from it quickly. But the Titans are 8-5, and they go into San Francisco to play. They go into the Bay to play the 49ers, who are 3-10. Yet the 49ers are favorites in this game. That's disrespectful.
That is.
The Sunday night game between the Cowboys and the Raiders looked like one of those games that was going to be great at the beginning of the season. Cowboys, Raiders, end of the season. There's going to be playoff implications. While both these teams have a long shot at making the playoffs, doesn't feel like this game really does have playoff implications, does it?
Two storied franchises. Eyeballs will still be on both of those teams. They have loyal, long-time fan bases because they've had a history of success in different decades. It's going to still be a highly anticipated game. Cowboys still playing without Ezekiel Elliott. And Derek Carr for the Raiders has been an enigma this year.
Jalen, you famously have not seen a single frame of all of the Star Wars franchise films. This weekend, the new Star Wars movie comes out. Luke Skywalker's in it. Kylo Ren. Rey. Rey might go to the dark side. Kylo Ren might go to the light side. Will you see the Star Wars film?
I'm going to see the Denzel film this weekend.
What if I told you that the success of this film directly affects the success of the Disney Corporation, which directly affects the success of ESPN, which directly affects the success of Jalen and Jacoby. Will you go see this film this weekend?
All I know is this. There was talk about cord cutting for the company that I work for and love really dearly. And I was enthusiastic to know the company paid $52 billion for the Fox properties this week.
So I'll take that as a no.
I think they'll be okay with me not going to see the movie.
I'll buy an extra ticket just for you, Jalen. You can always hit us up on our 1-800-FLOWERS Twitter feed. That is at Jalen and Jacoby. We're going to open that up right now. We got a lot of tweets today, some from our associate producers, some from some new contributors. First one is from one of our associate producers. This is from Goran. Shout out to Goran.
Shout out.
Soft move or boss move, putting ketchup on rice. Huh.
Well, it's personal preference, so I don't want to say soft move or boss move either way. But
whatever
to
you
answer the question, but to answer the question, for me to do it would be a soft move because they don't seem to go together.
I will say this, though, is someone once said to me, they're like, oh, you don't dip your potato chips in ketchup? I was like, no. They're like, they're basically French fries. And I was just like, whoa. And now when I have potato chips, if I have that opportunity, if I'm like a barbecue environment, I will definitely come with a side of ketchup for my potato chips. Plain potato chips, I recommend the best, but potato chips and ketchup are now, if possible. If I just have a bag of chips, I'm not running around looking for ketchup. But if you are around an environment that has both ketchup and potato chips, please marry those two.
I know one thing. Shout out to Black Thought.
Shout out.
He threw flames at that freestyle on Flex. 10 straight minutes of bars.
Black Thought will remind you.
The Snowman, Young Jeezy. Shout out to Big Sean. Shout out to Eminem.
Shout out.
All dropped albums this week.
Black Thought will remind you every once in a while. No one ever talks about him as one of the dopest MCs, but every once in a while he'll remind you that, like, I've got 4 songs that I will put up against anybody else's 4 songs.
How about Decades?
Next, Carlos has a question. In Jalen's Uber ride from the pod, did any ear hustling occur after he told the driver they were getting a little too enthusiastic? I need a follow-up on that. If you didn't listen to the
That's
show...
what I said to him?
If you listened to the show from Wednesday, Jalen was getting picked up from an Uber from the Bristol campus, and Jalen was... You know, Jalen can get frustrated when he talks to people sometimes, people that you don't know. You do get a little frustrated sometimes, you know, because you're very clear. You want what you want. Sometimes you get a little frustrated. And you're trying to guide the Uber driver to the proper entrance in which you want to be picked up at ESPN. And he was asking questions, and you said to him, in not in a polite way, but not an impolite way, you're getting a little enthusiastic. How was the vibe? Everybody heard this. Everybody heard the exchange. So what happened when you got in the car? What happened when you got in the car?
When I got into the car, everything was golden because for those that don't know, he told me he was at a dead end, which is only 150 feet from where he actually needed to be. And so all you had to do was just look, and there was a big ESPN building, about 13 of them, as well as a security entrance. So he was fine. He was a good driver. I didn't give him a chance to ear hustle, and I didn't get a chance to lecture me. I just told him I was sleepy.
Did you sleep?
No.
Nah.
Really?
I don't really sleep in the car when people are driving. When I'm by myself.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, Jalen, you know who you're talking to, right? I'll be mid-conversation. I'll be mid-conversation with you. You will have asked me a question, and right in the middle of my answer, I look over and you're asleep. However, one thing about just sleeping Jalen Rose has like this prison thing going on where if you point a camera at him, even when his eyes are closed, he will wake up and look right at you and point at you. I don't know how you do that, but it's hard. I mean, I've seen pictures of sleeping Jalen Rose because you sleep so much, but multiple times I've tried to catch sleeping Jalen Rose on film. You're like Bigfoot. Like, I know you're out there. I just can't catch you on film.
Michelle Beadle got me on the subway.
She did.
From Boston to New York.
That's a train, not the subway, but that's fine. One last question from our Twitter feed is, I'm not going to make you explain a movie plot. Next question we have is from Joe. Jalen, when did you decide to let your hair grow back after playing at Michigan? I shaved mine back in 91 and never tried to let it grow back. That's from Joe. When did you decide to get hair again after you were a bald head?
Really, I was just rocking a baldy as a sign of camaraderie and as a member of the University of Michigan team. In high school, I rocked my hair, multiple parts and things like that. I just rocked the baldy in college and then kept it when I got early in the league. And then when I realized travel was so hectic and it was hard to consistently get chopped up, I started to wear a headband. When I got a little more settled and I understood when I could get a cut, then I started to rock my hair.
Just a behind-the-scenes moment. I knew Jalen was on Real ESPN today when he showed up to Jalen Jacoby with a fresh haircut. That's always an indicator because you never have a fresh haircut on this show. But when I saw you with a fresh haircut, I was like, you were on SportsCenter earlier today or something. You were in Bristol earlier today, something. Were you in Bristol earlier today, Jalen?
I was in Bristol today.
Were you on camera, on television earlier today?
Yes, I was. I did multiple sports centers today.
Maybe sometime you'll respect this program, the one with your name on it, as much as you respect programs that have been around since you were a small child. Jalen, Carmelo Anthony spent a lot of time in New York City, 6 seasons with the Knicks, and he was traded. He's headed back there on Saturday to the Garden. Knicks fan favorite Kristaps Porzingis said that Knicks fans should, quote, show him some love. Given the fact that most of the turmoil during Anthony's stay was basically James Dolan and Phil Jackson's fault, do you think Knicks fans will follow their advice from the Unicorn?
I think they're going to follow the advice, and I agree with you about James Dolan and Phil Jackson. But there's a third piece to that puzzle. It's Carmelo Anthony. Mm-hmm. While the future Hall of Fame player left the Denver Nuggets to come to New York City, it was to elevate them to a championship level playing alongside Amari Stoudemire. That didn't happen. Him attracting other top-level free agents to come run with him did not happen. But he did go out there each and every game, give buckets, be a professional in the locker room, as well as dealing with the media, especially the last year or so when things just got off the rails with Phil and with James Dolan. So I do applaud how he did handle that scenario. But overall, the Knicks clearly didn't get accomplished what he hoped to get accomplished when he went there as a player.
Do you think it will be more of an appreciative ovation or some boo birds?
I think it'll be an appreciative ovation. He put in work there for 6 years. I mean, here's a guy that's averaging 25 points consistently. Yep. And New Yorkers respect the game. And they understand the hardest thing to do in basketball is to put that thing in the hole. And he did that in New York on that big stage for 6 years. And then it's the other part of the people that's going to cheer because they're happy that his number's off the salary cap. And there's going to be other people that's happy and cheer because the team now has a brighter future, possibly led by Porzingis.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, we are now joined by senior statue analyst, not just of ESPN, but of the world, Mr. Jalen Rose, who cares and knows more about statues than anyone else on the planet. There's a new statue being unveiled in the NBA. This time, it is a statue of Maurice Cheeks. He's an assistant coach for the Thunder, and this statue is going to be unveiled by the 76ers while he is in town. However, this statue is not going to be at the arena. It's going to be at the training complex. Jalen, is a statue just a statue, or does where the statue is located matter?
As long as it is outdoors, that makes it 1,000% legit. It doesn't matter what facility is in front of it, as long as the team issued the exact place where it's going to be placed. This is legit. Here's a player that's 5-time All-Defensive, 4-time All-Star, with a championship in '83 with the squad, playing alongside Dr. J and Moses Malone, Bobby Jones, and one of my favorite nicknames of all time was by Andrew Toney. the Boston strain. So, yes, I appreciate this by the Philadelphia 76ers.
Jalen, let's imagine the Pacers call you up and say, Jalen, we're going to give you a statue, right? And they were like, we're not going to put it right downtown. We're not going to put it at the training complex. We're going to put it outside the owner's house. What? Would you feel like that was a recognition that you deserve?
I wasn't a good player, so if they're going to give me a statue anywhere, anytime, I'll take it.
Yeah, you're just like, just get the hairline right. As long as you get the hairline right, you can do whatever you want. That's all that matters. Next, quietly, the Golden State Warriors have extended their winning streak to 8 games. On Thursday night, they beat the Mavericks, who were in town, and they beat them pretty handily, but not just did they beat them, look at who they beat them with. There was no Steph Curry, no Draymond Green, no Zaza, no Nick Young. Omri Caspi played 28 minutes. Patrick McCaw, 28 minutes. Jordan Bell, 24 minutes. Quinn Cook, who I completely forgot existed, got 7 minutes. Kevin Looney got 6 minutes. Jalen, should the Warriors be encouraged by the fact that they still have success no matter who is in the game?
Absolutely. And what you just described is a great organizational theory. They're building out their depth. When you have 4 all-stars that are locked at their positions, you now have to figure out who's going to be players that can consistently play quality minutes, because you're clearly not going to be able to go out and sign any more big-time free agents. So these are all players in one way, shape, or form, other than Andre Iguodala, other than Livingston, David West, and JaVale McGee, who did that last year. Nick Young falls into that category you just described also. Each player now has to earn the right by the coaching staff and of the players to see if they can trust them in the game, because they're going to be in a lot of big games as the season progresses.
Exactly. I think that they obviously sacrificed a lot of their depth when they brought on Kevin Durant, and they showed in the playoffs that didn't really matter, going 16-1 throughout the playoffs. But they're going to need these players, the McCaws, the Caspies. They're going to need these players come playoff time, and it is sort of a silver lining on the injury cloud that they get some minutes during the regular season. Jalen, I'm about to introduce something to you that you probably don't know about. It's going to be released nationwide, and it combines 2 of your favorite foods in the entire world that have nothing to do with lobster. Regal Cinemas is rolling out nationwide a new product. Jalen, when you go to the movies, what do you always get?
Popcorn, extra butter.
And before the show, you normally eat some Eatos. Well, I have here Cheetos popcorn, a combination of Cheetos and popcorn. And don't you wish you were in the studio today? Don't you wish you were there today?
Wow.
What do you think of Cheetos popcorn?
You know what? No different than the black socks or the long shorts or the term Fab Five. I need to start getting some of my ideas patented. Because literally somebody saw this program and they were like, you know what? We can make money off of that. I'm so jealous. But I got some better made popcorn though. Barbecue, potato chips, representing the D.
If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemail messages for the show. Messages will appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Let's listen to the first voicemail.
I got lots of love for J&J, that is. No love for the mother show to bite in this. All the mother podcasts know what time it is. And if they don't, they need to buy a watch. Word up. Jalen Jacoby, what up, though? It's late Luke, checking in from Parachute, Colorado. Hey, Jacoby, I was supposed to call in on the 10th so that you knew I was okay being out here, being a good Samaritan, picking up hitchhikers and all, the 15th, and I'm doing just fine. Sorry I'm late. Sorry for the wait, but I didn't exactly see the Jalen and Jacoby search party over here in Parachute either, man, and it's a small town, so I figured if Reggie and Harlan were cruising around in a Jalen and Jacoby shirt in the van from Jadakiss, I would have probably seen them. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well, getting into the Christmas swing here, and Jalen, I got a question for you, man. I know you guys love to give shout-outs, and I wanted to ask you, could you maybe tell us some of the best gifts you've ever received from your teammates back in your playing days, and maybe some of the coolest gifts you ever got for your teammates. Sometimes we hear about the quarterback getting the offensive line some gifts and things like that. And I just wonder if there's some guys you shout out who really hooked you up nice around Christmas. And maybe you could give yourself a little pat on the back for doing some cool things for a teammate back around Christmas. Anyway, fellas, y'all keep giving the people what they want. I'm going to keep stepping to this dope pod. I'll catch y'all later. All
right. I did see Luke from Parachute opens up a lot of things I want to discuss.
Shout out.
First of all, Luke from Parachute called in. He's a habitual hitchhike picker-upper, which concerns Jalen and I when he told us about this habit that he has. So we told him to check in every couple weeks so we know he's okay. Thank you, Luke, for not just picking up hitchhikers and being a good civilian, but also surviving the last 2 weeks and checking in to let us know that you're okay. Second of all, I do want to hear about NBA Christmas present policy, but I think it's also bigger than the NBA. In the NBA, those teammates, trainers, coaches, those are your colleagues. And as a professional in a corporate environment, I don't know how to handle Christmas with my colleagues. For example, our producer Harlan got me something for Christmas last year. I didn't get him anything. It made me feel bad. Am I supposed to get something for everybody on the show? What about the people that work on Sports Nation? Where's the line drawn? What about the people who work on NBA Countdown? Do you get something for everybody then? Like, where do you draw the line? I need to write an email to everybody I know and say, listen, I'm not getting you a present. Don't get me a present.
Well, I personally draw the line. Well, let me answer this question first. I think the best thing a teammate ever got me was nothing. Because what ends up happening is you're around each other so very much during the season that you get a chance to champagne and campaign and have dinners and break bread and go out and about with each other all of the time. So it's not like you have to do something special for the holiday.
There's no gift exchange. There's no gift exchange in NBA locker rooms. I like that policy.
No, there was no. There was no gift exchanging. No, everybody got their own bread. Everybody got their own list of people that want their bread. All we talking about is how all of the people that's coming out of the woodworks trying to get money for us. That's what we be talking about.
And another thing is I bet NBA players are really bad gift wrappers. My gift wrapping skills are just they're not up to par. Those people that give you a gift and it's wrapped off perfectly, I'm just a terrible gift wrapper. I want to know what people think about colleague Christmas present policies. Like, I honestly, I always end up with at least one or two people that get me a present that I don't have a present for, which makes me feel bad about it. Like, remember when you gave me that really nice jacket that year, the JRLA jacket? With the white leather sleeves and the wool. That's a high-quality jacket. Every time I wear that jacket, people just go to me and say, nice jacket, every single time. I didn't get you anything that year. And when you gave me the jacket, the first thing going through my mind was, I feel bad because I don't have anything in return. I love that jacket.
I think with workers, and I appreciate your support of the school. That's why I gave you a jacket. It just so happened that it was Christmas. It was my way to say thank you, a small token of our appreciation. But with that being said, with workers and colleagues, not to bust my arm to pat myself on the back, but I try to do special things in my own little way.
You do.
When I can throughout the year.
You do.
So that it's not a big deal when a holiday comes.
You do. You take care of the staff. You always bring food, tacos, lemon pepper wings, barbecue. And whenever, can I be honest about it? Can I be honest about this policy? Because I'm just such a negative person.
Yeah, because you left before you had some of the fried turkey on Thanksgiving.
I had some of the fried turkey, the first fried turkey I ever had in my entire life. I enjoyed it. What do you mean, Reg? I had some of the turkey. You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying in the microphone right now? I had some of the turkey. I was there. I left. Yeah, that was the first time I've ever had it. Every time you bring food for the staff, when I walk in and I see that there's food everywhere and everyone's eating, there's like 90% of me is like, come on, we're supposed to start a show right now. Like, Jalen, if you're going to do this, let everybody know. We'll come a half an hour early. We can eat, and then we can start the show on time. But now you're just delaying the process with these ribs. You're just delaying the process with this cornbread. Thank you so much for the call, Luke.
Shout out.
The Bristol radio producer, Danny Z, wanted to know if I was going to get him presents. That's a hard no. I'm not putting anything in the mail. But now that I've said all this, I have to get something for the staff. I'll come up with something. Don't forget, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemails. If you leave us voicemails, we'll play them on the show just like this.
Yo, what up, Jalen and Jacoby? This is Patrick calling from Durham, North Carolina, originally from Sacramento. Hey, guys, I just wanted to say, first, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. I was all grumpy, stupid. I didn't want to go to work. And then I listened to the pod while I was doing some work, and it just made me feel so good. It made me laugh. You guys were talking about working with tools and being handyman and all that kind of stuff, so I really appreciate it. You guys brighten my day. Second thing is I'm a scientist, and my fiance is a scientist. Shouts to Eleanor. Shout out. You know, it's real fun working together. We get to do a lot of projects together, and we do all this cool science and all that, but it can be rough, right? Like, you know, sometimes she wants to bring work home with her, and I don't want to do it. It makes me feel all bad and all that. So I wanted to ask Jalen, you know, your partner is in the same industry as you. What do you find is the best thing about that relationship? What do you find is the most challenging thing about working with someone and being with someone in the same industry? So hit me back, and thanks for your time, guys. Keep giving the people what they want. All right.
Shout out to Patrick in Durham via Sacramento. You know, first of all, a couple things I love about Patrick. We love people that listen to the pod at work. When you get paid to listen to our podcast,
no doubt,
good for you. Yep. Another thing, I always have a certain respect for scientists. You know, They decide, like, you know what, that class, I'm going to make that class into my career. Because science to me was something I had to get through for school, and then once I was done with it, I'm done with it for life. Like, I'm going to make that my career. Great career choice, Patrick. Both Jalen and I have worked with our significant others in the same industry. Well, the best thing about it is she knows all the same people, right? So when I reference certain people, you know, like we all kind of run in the same circles. So it's not like I have to explain who that person is. She knows all the different players and she knows all the different relationships. So you don't have to catch her up to explain things about work. That's one thing I like. What I don't like about it, she knows all the same people. So it's like, if I complain about somebody, she could disagree. Or if you know, a lot of times she's like, oh, they're playing you because I heard that they did this or that. It's a lot of like, oh, they're playing you from her. You know what I mean? Like, she's kind of like an instigator in a bar fight. You know what I mean? She always wants me to go hard, you know? But I love the time when we were working at the same office and living together. I think a lot of people would dissuade someone from both working and living with their significant other. But for me, it was absolutely fantastic. Jalen?
It's a beautiful thing to be able to work with my significant other, Molly, because like you said, you know all of the same people, and more importantly, they know what you hope to get accomplished. So, like, it's one thing when somebody doesn't truly follow sports and you don't work with them, but she also follows sports. Mm-hmm. So I could be laying in the bed and she looks at me like, man, we got to make sure we watch that Steelers and Patriots game.
And also, like, you get a consigliere. Like, you've got someone who can give you better advice because they know everything about. You don't have to catch them up. You get like a knowledgeable consigliere because everyone uses their significant other as a consigliere and a best friend and a million different things. But when they work with you, they could just be better at the consigliere role.
I'm sorry. And one other thing I have to stress too, when you work with your significant other or you just spend quality time with your significant other, don't worry about what other people think or say.
What up, though? It's your boy Chase from Knoxville, Tennessee. Listening to you guys talk about the wine glass issue. I was excited because my wife and I just had this same argument 2 nights ago when I filled up the glass. So I decided to look it up. Why do we only fill the wine glass up just a little bit? The consensus that I saw was that restaurants try to get as many glasses out of one bottle of wine as possible. So they started filling it up just a little bit. And I think it said something like you can get up to 5 glasses of wine per bottle. So restaurants, just trying to save a buck, decided to shift an entire culture. So I say we take it back. Give the people what they want, a full wine glass. Appreciate it.
Terrific call.
See, now this is how different Chase is. This is how different Chase is than you and I. So you and I just complain and just talk about what we do. Chase says, let me get to the bottom of this issue. Why is this the way it is? And I respect Chase for following up. Granted, he did just follow up just so he can win an argument with his girlfriend. We'll all do whatever we can to win an argument with your girlfriend. But Chase has a point here. Restaurants trying to make money have somehow made it look crass to fill your wine glass to the top. Well, guess what, Jalen and Jacoby listeners? We're starting a new revolution. It's called full wine glass. However, we have new information. According to the internet, glasses of wine are filled halfway or even less. Why, Reg? To give you the full experience and enjoyment of the wine. Here's the thing. The internet says that, but I think what Chase had to say probably is more accurate, because I don't need to see the wine. Do you know when I see the wine glass half full? Do you know when I see that? After I drank the first half. So I'll get the full experience.
No doubt.
Exactly. Like, maybe the aroma, you could get your nose in the glass. No. I'll experience that, but I'll experience it after I drank the first half. I get the same experience as other wine drinkers get. I just have a couple more ounces of wine in my belly first.
Absolutely, and it's no different than when you're out and about at a restaurant or whatnot, and they give you a mixed beverage or a cocktail, and it's half of the glass. I'm like, did somebody drink the other half?
Oh man. First of all, hashtag full glass. I'm with the full glass wine revolution. And this is another problem, because Jalen Rose taught me this, that he frequents the same establishments. I do that too. There's 3 or 4 places. I know I'm always in bed by 10. I'm home by 6. Like, I don't go out. I just pick a couple places here and there on my way home where I'll stop off, right? Watch a game. One thing I can't stand when I go to a new place is I ask for a vodka soda. And I see them take out basically a 4-ounce glass. And then what do? They dip it in ice and then put it on the bar. And then I look at it and I'm like, that glass if it was just full with water with nothing else, it would be about 6 ounces. And now you filled it with ice. So that's about, 2 ounces or 3 ounces. And then you put about an ounce of booze in there, 2 ounces of soda. So now I've got a 3-ounce beverage that you're charging me $11 for. Do you know how long it takes me to drink a 3-ounce beverage, Jalen? 2 sips?
3 seconds?
Yeah, 2 sips. So then I'm sitting there 2 sips, and then I have to get another drink. And then it's sort of like, it's socially unacceptable to have 5 drinks in 5 minutes, but that's kind of what it takes. Then I started asking for my beverages in pint glasses. So I'll be like, can I have a pint glass with vodka soda? Really what I mean is, give me a single pour of vodka and just fill the rest with soda. I don't need extra booze. I just need extra liquid so it won't take me 2 minutes to finish this drink and I have to come and talk to you again. But what they do is they put a double in it, and then it doesn't taste good. And then you ask them how much it is, and they're like, $22. I don't have $22 for a drink. Sorry, I got fired up. That really bothers me. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hey, been listening since the beginning, This is Rookie down here in Raleigh. I just want to give a quick message to the brother who called the other day and said, he didn't really like the opening. I wanted to just drop this jewel on him real quick. There's certain things when you're of a certain age and you grew up with hip-hop. I'm 43, so when I was a kid, hip-hop, this was the beginning. There's certain things that you hear that they're greater than the sum of the parts, right? What Jalen says by the Beastie Boys, to me and probably to people who grew up with hip-hop, it's greater than what it sounds like, So if you're a little bit younger, you might not feel the same way about it when you hear it. And there are a lot of things like that, I think, from hip-hop that today might seem kind of whack and not as cold, but if you are from that era, if you're a true hip-hop head, it means a whole lot more. So, like when I hear Curtis Blow go, oh yeah, that might be whack in a song today, but when I hear it, it means hip-hop to me, Melly Mel going, when I hear Run go, we had a whole lot of superstars on this stage here tonight. Things like that are hip-hop. So when Jalen does that at the beginning of the show, for me, it's just like him throwing up a flag saying, this is who I am. You can feel this or you can't feel it. And if you can feel it, then we're going to be in sync this show. You're going to know where I'm coming from because you could feel this. So, Jalen, don't change it. It means a whole lot more to a whole lot of us out here than some of these younger cats who maybe they just don't understand the essence. That's part of the essence, yo. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. I love you. I listen to it every day.
Thank you kindly.
Rookie.
How about Rookie calling in at 43, behaving like a seasoned vet and Hall of Famer?
And one thing I want to say, and I'm sure Rookie agrees with this is nothing against a younger generation that is not exposed to this. Like if you are 17 years old and you're listening to this, I can't be upset with you for not being exposed to things that happened before you were born. But what I can say is don't reject the things that happened before you were born. And I'm talking to you, Lonzo Ball, about Nas. I love Rookie. Rookie, will you be my dad?
And also, he's a hip-hop head because the things that he referred to is exactly right.
Curtis Blow, Melly Mel,
the Run DMC.
Yep.
No doubt about it. But they now call that something different. They're called ad-libs now. And each MC has their own. And so, based on what Rookie said, we will keep the intro to keep the people coming back for more because we give them what they want. Like that one. Or when Chuck D says, radio, suckers never play me. Or I got a letter from the government the other day.
Thank you, Rookie, for explaining our feelings better than we can. Rookie's more in touch with the way we feel about the intro than we are. You know, sometimes it takes someone else to articulate your feelings in the right way. Thank you, Rookie. We appreciate it. Shout to you. We love our listeners, especially our everyday listeners. Shout out. Let's listen to one more voicemail.
What up, though? It's Big O from T.O. I just wanted to call and thank y'all again for continuing to do what you do. At 7 a.m., I'm getting ready for work. I'm a bit drowsy, but like my daily routine, I put on the show. I'm listening to yesterday's show out on the East Coast here, and I just wanted to say I've been a long-time listener. I heard my man saying yesterday that he's not feeling the intro. Listen, I've never been a huge Beastie Boys fan, but I love the intro. It represents the 90s to me, 90s hip-hop, and what you guys do. I love the pop the trunk feel, so I'm going to come in and pay some respect to the intro. I'm a fan. My question today was, are the Clippers for real? I need to know, are my Clippers this season with the disaster and everything, should my Clippers tank? Should we trade DJ for the Nets pick in Cleveland and then possibly put together 2 lottery picks for next year's stacked lottery draft? I gotta say, I'm disappointed to give up on the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DJ era, but getting 2 top 10 picks, that's appealing to me. Let me know what y'all think. Shout out, Reg. Thank you for everything you do.
Are the Clippers for real? It's an interesting question. They're kind of at the crossroads.
See you at the crossroads.
Crossroads. I love my Uncle Charles, y'all.
There will be 0 Bone Thug slander on this program.
Should the Clippers tank?
He left out the most important thing. You trade DeAndre to the Cavs. Now all of a sudden you get Tristan back and you put together the Kardashians and the Jenners in the Staples Center for a basketball game nightly. Oh man, how about that?
To directly answer his question, I would say that now is not the time to make that decision. You try to act like you're going to make the playoffs, and then right around early March, late February, that's when you start tanking. Thank you so much for listening to the pod.
Thank you.
We'll be back because we're never done. No days off. We'll be back on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the pod. Tell a friend to subscribe.
Thank you.
DVR the TV show, too.
You're far too kind.